to find something, especially with traditional devices that we don't yet support these days. Okay, so back to runbooks. So with a runbook, there's two ways that we use this framework. One is if we're just working off the cuff, we open up a blank runbook and start adding steps to it and executing them. And then the runbook is taking the form of automatically building documentation of what exactly did we do and what were the raw results. And then the most important of these results, according to us, we publish into the incident as well. So the incident then links back to the runbook. The other is we can create what's called a runbook template, which is the right way to do something. So it's a predefined set of runbook steps with certain parameters, certain instructions attached, things like that. And then we can load that up and follow that predefined procedure whenever needed. And not just the author can do that, but anybody can follow that procedure very easily. So we can turn a very complex procedure such as, step 1, pull 3 show commands from 200 devices each and then look for XYZ variables and see how they relate. You can turn that into a QAP or a set of network intents or something like that, and then it becomes hit the button. If anything turns red, notify this team because they need to fix it. This is the power of automation, because not only does it speed things up, but it, again, shifts workflow to the left, meaning we can actually hand off tasks to people who, let's say, I'm a brand new NOC operator. In terms of networking generally, I still don't really know from my knee from my elbow. You can hand off one of these runbook templates to me, and I can do a very complex procedure without really knowing what I'm doing. I'm just hitting the button and seeing what turns red, which is usually how you structure it. That's something anyone can do, basically. So it's incredibly powerful, especially for larger organizations. So this slide, I'm not going to go through it in detail, but these are all the different elements in the user interface for a runbook. One of the most commonly used types of runbook steps, if you're not working with a predefined procedure, is just to bulk execute CLI show commands and look at them. So very straightforward, but simply being able to do our data pull a map at a time instead of a device at a time, as we would say, is incredibly powerful. Now, there's always going to be a role for going directly into a device with a CLI client, and so we do have a CLI client that links into NetBrain. It's called Smart CLI. And this does run on your local system. It does not run through your browser. So we have versions for Microsoft Windows, for Mac OS, and it's specifically for I think it's at Ubuntu Linux, but it should work on any Linux. I should think anyway. Haven't tried it, but yeah, it's basically PuTTY that can then link into NetBrain and get a little bit of help in terms of identifying what device you want to try and connect to, but it's not going to use NetBrain's embedded credentials to talk to the devices. You have to provide your own, just like with PuTTY, and you have to be able to get there from here, just like with PuTTY. But then there's two things that once you're in and doing stuff, there's two extra things you can do that you can't do in a standard need to fix this slide, it looks like, that you can't do in a standard terminal. One of them is you can take whatever part of an output that you want and you can post it into a linked incident, just like publishing runbook results. And then the other is you can, if there's previous copies of this particular show command on this particular device, whether cached on your local system or cached in the server, you can compare what you just got to any previous point in time and do a swift delta check right there in the application and do line-by-line delta checking, which is fantastic in particular for troubleshooting, because one thing I was taught in tech school and has been kind of a mantra of mine ever since is find the delta, find the problem. Now, preventive automation, we mentioned this as part of our overall view of NetBrain. So remember these little network intents, checking specific aspects of configuration or checking for specific errors on specific devices. Well, in addition to being able to use these on demand, as we'll talk about today, our power users and super users and admins can put the it can schedule these intents to be run on a regular basis from within NetBrain, and this is called preventive automation. Now, there's a nice little dashboard right in the taskbar that allows us to see a summary either for the whole network or a specific part of it to see what alerts, if any, have been tripped in the past whatever time range we want. And this basically is a quick way to see what's going on. And then if we do find any issues, we can go in and with a few clicks see exactly what it found and what it thinks the problem is according to what it's been told to do. So this is incredibly powerful and basically a one-stop shop to see what, assuming we have NetBrain doing regular checks, it's a one-stop shop to see what issues it has found. So that is the PowerPoint part of the class. So any questions before we switch back to the client? And I seem to be talking too much, so it looks like we are going to go a little over the bottom of the hour. I do apologize for that. How does NetBrain notify end users with alert?